Hey everyone, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. We're back with our weekly painting progress, and we're off to a start for the new year of 2024 with, of course, a whole pile of Obscurities and Miniature. Now, I will admit I did not paint as much as I have in the past. I was too busy reading. I had a stack of books, stacks of comics, and then I finally remembered the name of that web serial I'd wanted to read. It was Worm, and I spent most of my free time doing that. But I did manage to paint a couple of things. So we'll look at those a little more closely and hopefully in focus. So I had shown off some of these Silia Legion figures from Daka store in the past. I think I did one of the sniper freebie guys, and I started working my way through some of their hero models. I have no idea what they're called, but they should be available on my mini factory and all of those various places. He was a single piece, I believe. Some of them may have had some parts that needed to be glued, like a cape or a arm here or there, but I want to say this guy was pretty much, maybe his backpack was the only thing that needed to be glued on. I didn't know what to do with his dragon on his shoulder there. I wanted to keep it pretty much with the theme of greens and silvers. And I probably should have done more there with the chest. It seems I missed a little spot. That's okay, we can go back and fix it. Not the best print job, but my printer has been obnoxious lately. I have been fighting with it. For whatever reason, it only wants to print in the back of the print plate now. And I've changed the sheet at the bottom. I've adjusted the home, Z equals 0, the platform, all that stuff. And for whatever reason, it just is being very uncooperative. But slowly but surely, I'm like, screw this. I'm still going to print stuff. So we've been experimenting with that. Got a sword fighter guy here. Now, I have no idea what I did the last time to get the scales to be a lot more green. I played around with some washes, and you can barely see it. So I'm going to probably go back and maybe just use a lighten color and just wash it over that. Again, I want to say it was a single piece. Very elaborate armor. They do have some multi-part guys, if you're interested in that. Axeman here. He might have been all one piece. Eventually I will try some of the multi-part modular guys. And then finally, just to paint something different, we went ahead and did one of their Terminator hero models. Again, they do have modular ones if that's something you're looking for, with a whole variety of various shoulder pads, close combat weapons, fancy guns, all that jazz. I do have the Primarch I printed a while back too. So they're coming along slowly but surely. I mean, they're not the most exciting thing, I guess, for some people. And then because one of you suggested it, I could not resist. I had to paint one of the, I don't even remember what they're called, Kobold Tinkerbots or something? I don't remember. This is part of the Order of the Crimson Flame, Children of the Crimson Flame from the Dragon Trapper's Lodge. But I went ahead and painted it up Mazinga Z style. And I tried to paint him in a Koji Kabuto colored outfit in there, with a very Mazinga Z inspired paint job. Now I have a couple of these things actually printed, so I'm probably going to go back and paint one up in much more standard colors to be a lot more similar to the actual Children of the Flame guys. There's nothing wrong with a heroic super robot to lead the way. Sadly, there is no... I was thinking about just painting some red, chest fins for his breast fire thing on there, but I didn't do it. I wanted to keep it very simple, which I did. And then I actually spent most of my time painting the following guys, and I actually should have a video coming up on them soon. I am just waiting to try to get some of their other things printed to show off. And that is these new Jade Coalition guys from the Maker's Cult. So this is one of their basic infantry. And the Maker's Cult is always, I want to say Garen, it was either Garen or Brexit. I don't remember who did these. I feel like it was Garen. But it was one of the guys of the Maker's Cult. We'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so oftentimes with their bog standard infantry guys, there's still quite a few pieces, but these were actually just a single piece body with a optional head. So I went ahead with one of the armored heads naturally. And I really played up that Jade look with them. Of course, the painted samples that the Maker's Cult already had posted were very similar, so that made my job easier. And then was just something different, you know? And I liked that. I was like, these are pretty neat. So this is just the regular infantry. But that wasn't actually what really got my attention. What got my attention was the heavy infantry, which has almost that SF3D style, just bulky, clunky, old-fashioned power armor look to it. And I think that's a 32mm base that he's sitting on there. And I really like the head design now. I know the painted samples they had like the front of it glowing like there was a cockpit interface inside there. I didn't bother. Maybe I should. I just love all the outside exoskeleton frame type stuff all over it. And they had some unarmored heads. They had some heads similar to this guy's. I want to say the body was one piece and the arms were separate. I should have some unpainted ones, unbuilt ones laying around. But like I said, I'll have those in a video in the near future. But those weren't going to be the ones that I really... Now, I liked the heavy infantry. Let's not deny that. But what really set me over the edge were their Geist models. And that's actually what we have the upcoming video on, focusing on. This is one of their Geists. It's just a big, heavily armored... I don't even know if it is human, was human. If it was alive, I love this thing. 4 arms. We'll talk about those if you want to see more about these guys. There's tons of optional parts for them. I went with a shield and sword, so he actually has hands. They have options if you don't want hands. They have options if you want faces too, but I went with the purely armored version. That's a big figure too, on a 50mm base. It can give our Kobold Mazinga Z here a good run for the money. But again, just the design of these guys, everything in the Jade Coalition so far has been pretty interesting and different. They've had some scout models. They were okay. They were pretty, you know, what you would expect. Some of their transports were really neat looking. They've had some mobile artillery, which was pretty cool. Again, once I get around to it, we will definitely be showing those off, but there should be a video on the Geists coming up really soon, because the Geists, as I try not to yawn or hiccup or do something, were actually completely compatible with their heavy bodyguard, like Ogren type guys, and have a lot of similar parts, of which we'll show off, so do keep your eyes peeled if that sounds of interest to you. But yeah, big giant mech dudes with pipes and rivets all over them and giant chainsaw hands is just something I absolutely had to print. So I'm hoping we see even more of this stuff. I would love to see a Jade Coalition walker of some sort. I'm sure we will, given enough time. And one of the cool things is they actually have started putting this stuff into epic scale as well, which I thought was kind of a cool touch. So, not the most prolific, like I said, but definitely a good amount. And let's be honest, I did paint all of those Jade Coalition guys together, and then I painted all of the Silia Legion guys together, so that did speed things up a little bit. But hopefully I will continue to clear stuff off of the table, I've been trying to work on some of the larger models that seem to constantly plague me because I love to print. And actually, I've been trying to get started on some other stuff. So I have a bunch of 3D printed videos coming up, and that's kind of sad. As I was really lamenting the fact with my family that there's just not a whole lot of actual plastic physical releases these days. I mean, sure, there's stuff from GW, and Wargames Atlantic is still putting stuff out. I'm still waiting on those the stuff from Zombie Smith, the Quars. And absolutely we'll be putting those up. But like outside of just like a handful of companies, you know, stuff that Renedra makes or stuff that Archon is producing, there's just not as much out there, which is a real shame. We'd love to see more plastic hits. If you guys ever have any suggestions, or if you have anything that I should be keeping an eye out for, by all means, do not hesitate. Send a message my way. I will be keeping an eye on it. And like I mentioned in my best of 2023, I will be trying to figure out some kind of giveaway in the near future. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you probably want to do that so I can at least try to keep track of all of the people. And hopefully we will get something figured out there. But in the meantime, we're going to continue painting, and hopefully all of you out there are going to continue to as well. And as always, I will try to post this on social media. Sooner or later, it eventually gets there, and we will put it with that hashtag weekly painting progress. And by all means, I would love to see you guys do the same. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. I remember this time. Bye-bye.